Well, hello, everybody. We are going to talk about the themes of AP World History. And this is I guess you could say these are kind of the lenses that we'll be using when we're looking at the content of the course and how we can break it down and frame it and connect it to one another. So, AP World History is organized around 6 themes, and that's going to serve as the puzzle pieces, the building blocks, the unifying threads, whatever analogy you want to use. That's what's going to unite all of the content. And by studying history and relating it to the themes that you see above, what we're doing is examining how events, individuals, empires, et cetera, fit together piece by piece to reveal the big picture. And this is not just within units, but this is going to be across all of human history. And the themes provide a way for us to organize and compare information. It's going to let us analyze why things changed, why they stayed the same, what are the causes, what are the effects, why are things similar, why are they different? And we're going to look at the technology they had that perhaps made things different, or that perhaps changed things, or the lack thereof that led to things remaining the same. Consequently, we'll be looking at history using pieces. And then these themes will be used as lenses to help us break it down. So the first theme is governance. And what we're going to be looking at is the various methods and strategies that governments use to maintain order. And this is not just through governing bodies. This is not just through administrative institutions and policies and procedures. One thing I want you guys to think about is some of the examples of monumental architecture that you know of. Great example, the pyramids in Egypt, the Olmec giant heads. Getting into a bit more modern history, take a look at the Winter Palace or the Palace of Versailles. And these are great examples of government and ways that kings and emperors could show how powerful they were. It's not just that they had the money to build this, but they had the resources, and not just the stones or the artisans, but they had the ability to harness a labor source, often through slave labor, to build monumental architecture like this. We're going to look at the internal and external factors that contributed to state formation, to empires expanding, generally through military conquest, and then their decline as well. So, some questions: who's in charge? Who gives that person or that group power? What is that power based on? Is there a contract? What's the structure? Are there significant wars, courts, laws, treaties that are involved? And we give you P for political. And here we give you I for innovation. Our theme here is technology and innovation. Human adaptation, y'all, and innovation have resulted in incredible examples of the power of the human mind. Technology it can range in anything from something so incredibly simple to incredibly strong. So guys, I'm thinking like, oh, hey, look, fire. You cook meat over the fire. It tastes better. It doesn't make us sick. That's technology. When we're looking at the discovery of steel, smelting iron, when we're looking at the things we can build with steel, the Brooklyn Bridge, that's technology. So you can see it really runs the course. We're going to analyze how technological advances shaped human development and then interacted with both intended and then unintended consequences. Questions for us to focus on are: how have people adapted to their surroundings? How do they get from place to place? What tools or machines have they developed? And are there significant achievements or innovations in technology, math, or science? One thing I just want you guys to think about: the smallpox vaccine. Who created that and when? And the answer might really surprise you. Yeah, I'm not telling you, you're going to have to look that one up yourself. So in the environment, we have E for environment. Humans in the environment specifically. Really what we're looking at here is how do populations impact their environment and how are they impacted by their environment. Environment shapes societies. Populations will grow and they will change. These populations shape their environment for the better, usually for the worse, though. But what we've seen is the environment will strike back. Great example, the Nile River in Egypt versus the Tigris and Euphrates rivers of Mesopotamia. Bodies of water, very, very, very different consequences. And thus, those consequences shaped their religious ideas about life and death. We'll learn more later on. Guiding questions. In what geographic region is the society civilization located? What makes up the geographic landscape of this region? How are people and events affected by geography? How do people interact with the environment, and how does the environment define the society's civilization? Again, we go back to Egypt and Mesopotamia. And guys, if these questions are really making you think and like this is really interesting, a little shameless self-promotion here. Poolesville High School offers a class called AP Human Geography. It is fabulous. You should really take it. Just throwing that out there for you. C is for culture, specifically the cultural development and interactions. So what we're looking at here, guys, the development of ideas, beliefs, and religions. And these illustrate how groups in society view themselves. It looks at the interactions of society and then their beliefs that usually have political, social, and cultural implications, both causes and effects. We're going to analyze how a people's unique way of life impacts their history and how it helps them view the world around them, how they're going to take in other cultures and other people. So some questions that we'd examine. What is the meaning of life for people in society, civilization? Again, great example, go back to Mesopotamia and Egypt. How do they define their daily lives? What are the basic religious beliefs? Are there leaders or documents that define religion? If I could underline that right now, I would, but I'm waving my hands all around. It's important. What groups are given the chance to learn and how do they learn? Do they have forms of philosophy? How do they express themselves? E is for economics. As societies develop, they affect and are affected by the way they produce, exchange, and consume goods and services. Before you leave this class, you will know all about the Silk Road. You will know all about Indian Ocean trade, trans-Saharan trade, and how these trading routes completely altered every city state, every empire they crossed through. You're going to analyze how the economies and economic pursuits shape the history of different societies. Guys, one thing we're going to be looking at, and unfortunately in this class, we study the worst of humanity. And a lot of the causes of the worst of humanity stems right here. It's a simple word. It's called greed, y'all. This is where it comes from. So one thing we're looking at, is there a currency present in society? How do people earn their money or food? What commodities are valued and then traded? Is the economy based on agriculture or commerce? Small trade and professions? Is the economy based on industry, manufacturing, and technology? Finally, S is for social interactions and organizations. The process by which societies group the members of their civilization, usually in a hierarchy, and then the norms that then govern interactions between these groups and between individuals. And this is going to influence political, economic, and cultural policy, institutions, and organization. We're going to analyze what groups have power, how they got that power, and how they lord it over others. We'll examine how that power is manifested, and very importantly, we'll ask the question, why? The answer will both shock and sadden you. Well, maybe we'll just sadden you, I don't know. Analyze who is the other in society. Give you a hint, guys, a lot of this, again, comes back down to the economic factors. There's a lot of other factors involved too. We'll be looking at gender, religion, ethnic background. We'll be looking at area of origin. These are all questions that we need to fully understand and answer to understand the social systems. We're going to ask, how does the group relate to other groups? How do people communicate? What do people do together? How are the groups organized? What are the family and gender systems and relations? Are there social classes? How do they live? And a big one we'll examine, are there inequalities within the society? And if the answer is yes, we're going to find out why. So, great thing you can always do as we hit a new civilization, feel free to grab one of these, print it out, or use a chart. We'll analyze societies and figure out what went wrong, what went right, and what really stands out. Have a great one, y'all.